Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Midday Live on TV3 with me, Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Coming up within the next 1 hour. Volta Regional House of Chiefs suspend Nkonya and Alavanyo chiefs until conflict between the two clans are resolved. Meanwhile, the paramount Queen Mother of Nkonya leads a demonstration in Nkonya. Details coming up shortly. One district, one factory policy to commence in 51 districts later this year. That's a promise from the president. We have details of all these stories and more, including business, sports, entertainment, all coming up for you. The details now. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Let's start from the Volta region, where the Volta Regional House of Chiefs has suspended the paramount chiefs and queen mothers of Nkonya and Alavanyo for their inability to maintain peace between the two traditional areas. The regional chiefs, or House of Chiefs, as a body, is using the move to as a punishment for the two feuding factions. The sanctions are in response to a shooting incident at Nkonya purported to have been undertaken by unknown assailants from Alavanyo on Wednesday, leading to the death of 2 people and leaving 2 others critically injured. Meanwhile, the paramount Queen Mother of Nkonya led a demonstration this morning following the incident. She has vowed to ensure revenge following the killing of her subjects. She has joined us on the line to give us an idea of why she thinks that the best option would be to retaliate. Okay, we've been joined by the Queen Mother of the Nkonya traditional area, and I would want to put a few questions to her. Nana Otubia, the second paramount Queen Mother of the Nkonya traditional area. Madam, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon.
We are told that you led a demonstration earlier today and that you will seek to at least revenge the death of your subjects. Is that the case? Is it true?
It's not a demonstration. It's a right that if somebody dies under such circumstance, we don't keep the person in a morgue. The person must be buried a day or 2. And then we realize that from the police or the crime officer, they said the government is interested in this case. Hence, we cannot bury our son. But there are rights that we go through. So we carry on with the right today. So it's not a demonstration.
Yes. So the wearing of the red and the activity you undertook is not a demonstration against the killing of your subjects?
No, it's a right. It's a
traditional right?
Yes, yes. It's a right we perform, yes.
Okay. How about the news we are also hearing that you and your subjects intend to retaliate the killing of your subject? Is it true?
As for retaliation, the youth, I have not heard of any suspension, my dear. There is no communicate to the effect of what you are telling me. I'm here. I'm still carrying on with my duty as a paramount Queen Mother. I believe that if there is a suspension, they will invite us and then get to the side of our story. Now, as I'm speaking to you, I've not even received any call from the Regional House of Chiefs. Yes.
Right. So, okay, so we would wait to see how that particular one comes up, because that is what we have been told. And finally, before you go, you were talking about retaliation, and those who are saying if you do retaliate, people of Nkonya would also retaliate. Then we'd never see an end to this conflict, this age-old conflict. How would you propose that this issue is resolved?
Yes, as I'm saying, It's the youth that are engaged in this shooting incident, because I don't think any old man can even have the strength to walk all the way from Alavanyo to come and shoot, because it's quite a distance. And so we have to engage the youth in any useful employment. You understand? If we leave them idle, the devil finds work for the idle. And so I believe that the youth are very, very gullible now. If somebody tells them, go and do this, go and do that, they do that even without the traditional authorities' knowledge. So what I want the government to do is to engage the youth from both Alavanyo and Nkonya in a very, very useful employment, be it farming or anything.
That's what you want government to do. Stop. But how about the traditional authorities themselves? How about the chiefs of these two towns? What can you do? Or what will you do?
Exactly. What can I do? What I'm doing right now is to restrain my youth from even going to the farm. So since this incident occurred, all the youth are in town now. We conduct roll call. We are each other's keeper. If you see anybody going to the farm without informing anybody, let us know, because we don't want to spoil our case. We have a very good case, so we don't want any incident to mar our case. So for me, every now and then I call Deba, I give them education as to effect of conflict. It is not good. So that is what I'm doing in my part. I don't know what the Alavanyo people are doing. That is why you've not heard of any retaliation from the part of Nkonya traditional area. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'm engaging them. But you see, I'm not permanent here. I may go back to Accra and they will take the law into their own hands again. Yes.
Right.
So that is the problem.
Okay. At least in the next few days, government would be reacting or responding to it. We'll see how it pans out. But thank you. Thank you for making time to...
Yes, and before I go off, I would like to make this passionate appeal to the IGP and His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, that we don't want the inspector, the inspector here in Konya. We don't want him because he's inflaming person. Some of his utterances are, not good. So
you mean the district police commander?
To the IGP. We need his transfer from here.
The police
because
commander?
When I leave, I don't know what will happen. Yes.
Madam, you're talking about the police commander?
Yes, here. No, we have two commanders. One, I don't know, but this Mr. Hosenu, he's the one we don't want here. Yes.
Okay. And your reason for not wanting him is? Why don't you want him?
My brother, when this incident occurred, even his response, I called him and he didn't pick my call. I called him severally. At a point in time, the phone was engaged. I have to fall on Pando. So immediately I called Pando. They responded swiftly. But then this harm has been caused already. Right. And he was in his car going up and down without even taking into consideration why he's being brought here.
Okay.
Our interest is not at his heart. So please, we don't want him here.
Right. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, madam, for speaking to us. Certainly we'll come back to you in the next, in subsequent bulletins to see how this issue can be resolved amicably. Nana Otubia II is the paramount queen mother of the Nkonya traditional area and giving us her position on what has happened so far. So we'll stay in the region because news is that is what we have heard, that the Volta Regional House of Chiefs has suspended the paramount chiefs and queen mothers of the Nkonya and Alavanyo traditional areas following the death or the shooting of some persons who have died. 2 people have died, 2 others are in critical condition, and we are hoping to see how it is resolved. The Volta Regional House... So just to reiterate that the Volta Regional House of Chiefs has suspended the paramount chiefs and queen mothers of the Nkonya traditional area, and due to their inability to maintain peace between the two traditional areas, the Regional House of Chiefs has, as by authority, suspended these two traditional chiefs following the killing of some 2 people which occurred last Wednesday. And the news we also have is that it is as a form of punishment for their inability to resolve the age-old impasse. The sanctions are in response to the shooting of some indigents of Nkonya, purportedly have been undertaken by people from Alavanyo. And we spoke to the Queen Mother, who is on your screens now. She led what she said is a traditional rite earlier today to mourn the passing or the death of one of their subjects. So she clarified that it is not a demonstration, but it was a rite, traditional funeral rite for the person who has been killed in that unfortunate incident. All right, so we've been joined in studio by Emmanuel Kuting. He's Executive Director for the African Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. But our focus today would be on Nkonya and Alavanyo. As old as 10 years and over, we have had issues of these 2 towns fighting. What we know, though, is that the fighting has always been over a parcel of land. The new or the recent incident, we are told, is not even near the parcel of land, so they do not know the reason for the incident. But whether about land or not, how can this issue be resolved amicably?
Well, thank you for having me, and good afternoon to your cherished viewers. In fact, I have always been with the position that this conflict, especially the Alavanyo one we're talking about, the solution should come from within. And I'm happy that the appropriate body, which is the Regional House of Chief of the Volta region, they are developing teeth now and they can bite. I think that is the way to go. But the people of Nkonya and Alavanyo must realize that in a conflict of this nature, there are no winners. We are all losers in conflicts. And you see, they must also take something into perspective. They should look at the opportunity cost of fighting over this parcel of land, which has taken close to a century now, to the education of their children. It means that they are wiping away the entire generation. And I don't think posterity will judge or history will be on their good side. So the appeal should be to the indigenes of Alavanyo and Nkonya. And they should say that enough is enough.
Yes, isn't it tricky if you want to resolve this? I mean, how would you go to the people? For instance, the Queen Mother just told us that the youth of the town are very agitated, and there are reports also that youth of Alavanyo are saying that they are prepared for whatever retaliation would occur. How can you calm tensions before you decide to go on with a discourse in terms of a solution?
You see, this is a local problem, so the solutions must be local. You see, I listened to the narration of the Queen Mother calling on the government. The government cannot do anything. The conflict is still existing because they have attempted solution from that angle. Let's look at the other opportunities. I am always of the view that as a country, let's use some of these conflicts to do some kind of retrospection and consolidate this conflict and come out with local solutions to them. You know, she mentioned about the youth not getting jobs, and she believes those are the bane of the problem in the area. But how do you give jobs to people when you don't create the enabling environment to give skill sets to these people, which are the schools we are talking about? You fight every now and then, schools are disrupted, children don't get the opportunity to go to school, and obviously they lose the skill sets. So how would the jobs even come? Even let's talk about the current government policy or the one district, one factory policy. Let's assume it is in place in these two areas. Would they guarantee government there will be peace to even safeguard this investment? No. And I think that we must also go back in history. Elsewhere, many, especially in Malaysia and Singapore, state owns the land. And I think that our land tenure system didn't help us. And for obvious reasons, government, even being the custodian of our land, is also problematic. You know the incidents we have even in Accra here, where you see the minority few at the top there selling state lands to private individuals.
So, okay, that is when we broaden or widen the discussion. But I think following what happened in in the northern part of the country, looking at some places in the Middle Belt and the Volta region, there seemed to be one line that runs through, which has been the issue of the youth not being employed, or unemployment sometimes being the reason why people engage in all sorts of activities like this. If a job is created, like you mentioned, how can they ensure that the investment is secured and that people will not, by violence, destroy even that investment which is going to be creating jobs for them?
You see, no investor will want to invest in a conflict-prone area. The people must commit to peace and show through cost that indeed they are committed to peace. It's only then the jobs they are seeking can trickle down. If you look at the conflict areas, let me use Yendi as an example, even though we are not talking about Yendi issue here. Yendi was a fast-growing metropolitan area. But when this chieftaincy issue erupted, go and look at Yendi now. There are no developments. The same thing, go to Nkonya and Alavanyo. I'm not sure they are getting their fair share of the national cake. And it's not any fault of government, because there are no guarantees that such investment will be safeguarded. So it's an appeal to the opinion leaders from both Nkonya and Alavanyo that in this conflict, there are no winners. If you are pushing blame that you are right, this one is wrong, we cannot resolve this problem. I think we should have the spirit of forgiveness and good neighborliness.
And the decision to unite to fight against this issue, can it be just by word of mouth?
No, it cannot. That's why I spoke to one of your sister network yesterday that government must begin to put the enabling environment in place. I'm not saying they should get involved. You know, I said earlier that they should only lend support when such support is required. What are the enabling environment I'm talking about? Look, we have the Peace Council, the Christian Council. Unfortunately, we are about 70% Christian council. We go Christian nation. We go to church every day. And yet, we cannot forgive ourselves over a parcel of land. I think these are the institutions we should begin to push. Indeed. And even the committee set up by Otumfo, they did a good job. I think government needs to push this committee to go further by availing resources to them. From my last check yesterday, the committee's work was curtailed because there were no resources for them to go ahead with what they were doing. Okay. So such committees should be encouraged to come out with local solutions to this problem. Government cannot solve this problem.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Always insightful speaking with you, Emmanuel Kuting. He is the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. Thank you very much for making time to speak with us. And certainly, we hope that government finds, at least from government and the local authorities, an amicable solution is found to this age-old conflict that always seems to claim lives and property destroyed. This is still Midday Live on TV3. Let's move on to some other stories now. As the fight against illegal mining in the country intensifies, government is putting in enough measures to ensure that at least lands are safe, property are saved, and the water bodies are also saved. TV3's Ashanti Regional Correspondent William Evans Inkum has visited the Ashanti-Achim Central where illegal mining has been rife in the last few days and is reporting on the current situation as the deadline for these illegal miners expires.
In the country intensifies. This morning we have come to the Asante-Achim enclave, and this is one of the areas notoriously known for galamsey activities. I must say that the level of destruction that galamsey activities or illegal mining has caused to lands and water bodies is just enormous. But one other thing that you also need to understand is that this is one of the area which is very, very dangerous, and for that matter, if you are entering, you need the police escort to actually guide you, because the people who mine in this particular area can be very, very hostile, especially when they see the media around. So we have come to this particular area, and you can see the level of destruction. We have police protection for now, so we'll be able to at least do a proper story as far as this particular area is concerned, because as I indicated to you early on, this is one of the dangerous places to come if you don't have the police to actually escort you. Now you can see a vast arable land destroyed by galamsey activities. Obviously the quiet nature of this place tells you that the people so far have complied with directive from the central government that all galamsey activities must stop. As far as the development of the country is concerned, you can see that they've left their excavators, not only the excavators, but the other machines that they have also left. So all that I see around here are just excavators, and then some machines that they use for their mining activities. But as for the people who operate these machines, are no more or nowhere to be found. But let's look at the level of destruction caused here, and that is where the story is. Because if you look at water bodies which has barely been polluted, let's see, I think I have found a water body here. So let's just get closer to this particular water body and see the level of pollution. By so doing, you have a better understanding of the situation or the level of destruction illegal mining is causing our lands and then our source of water. Hitherto, one can put a cup in this water and then drink from it. But if you look at the situation now, it is just horrible. This water is not good for drinking anymore because of the activities of illegal mining. So you can see some of their machines here, and you don't need any expert to tell you how the activities is actually affecting the land and then the water body. But the question that we are asking is, for how long will our water bodies and our lands continue to be under the mercy of these people who arguably do not care about our source of our livelihood as far as our lands and then waters are concerned? My name is William Evans Inkum. Over to you, studios.
All right, so that is William Evans Inkum earlier today when he visited that galamsey site. You know that the deadline that was given by the Lands and Natural Resources Minister expired 2 days ago, and TV3 is keeping an eye on how government intends to ensure that these miners have truly left the mining sites and moved their excavators. So far, over 500 excavators have been moved away from the various land sites or mining sites. William Evansinkum is joining us live again. He's speaking with the superintendent of the superintendent Ohene Bwedi, who is the divisional police commander for Konongo.
Person who has been championing the fight against galamsey in this particular area, an area that he controls. Some weeks ago, he confiscated galamsey equipment, and then I must say that he's very much on course when it comes to the fight against galamsey. So, Superintendent, thanks so much for speaking to TV3. Now, what is your commitment level? I know you have done a lot of work when it comes to confiscation of galamsey materials and what have you. But to what extent have you performed to ensure that this particular menace comes to an end?
Thank you very much. The Konongo Divisional Command taking this galamsey issue very serious. Like I mentioned to you the other time when you came, you saw that we, about 3 weeks ago, when you came here, we've arrested some galamsey guys at the site, especially those destroying water bodies. They've destroyed almost all the water bodies at Konongo jurisdiction here. So the officers, we have met, as far as you see all my officers sitting down, we are having a serious meeting on galamsey issue. We are ensuring that every galamsey member in this community is off. Agogo officer is here. You see the district commander, Mr. Sule Ibrahim, is here. The Grassroots district commander, Mr. Andrews Anyani, is here. Our MT3 commander, Mr. Brobe, is here. Our crime officer, Mr. Anyadedo, DSP, is also here. Command meeting against galamsey. For now, we've taken a short-term measure, medium-term measure, and long-term measure. For short-term measure, what we're doing is that we've formed the patrol team, 3 patrol teams, 1 for night, 1 for day, and 1 for standby. And as you saw, when you were going to that, we sent the standby team to assist you. As I'm speaking to you now, we have the day patrol teams hovering around all our jurisdiction, ensuring that this galamsey leaves our premises. And you saw it. There's nobody around. We've made sure that we take all these galamsey people from our jurisdiction. And as we are having meeting here, we are strategizing for the next medium-term way of curbing this galamsey uprightly from our jurisdiction.
Now, what has been the difficulty or the challenge? Just want you to mention one major challenge, and then we wrap up.
So it has to do with the chiefs. Who gives lands to these people? Fortunately, yesterday, the command, the MUSEC, we had a meeting with the stakeholders, the chief, the assemblymen, the galamseyers, and we told them our point of view that we don't want to entertain any galamsey in Konongo division, comprising Dwaso, Agogo, and Konongo proper. And we had a meeting with them, the MCE, and we sent a very strong warning and one strong message to them. And they know I'm a serious-minded police officer. Likewise, my officers, we are going to ensure that this menace is put to bay.
It is put to bay. So we have been speaking to the Konongo Divisional Police Commander. I'm talking about Superintendent Ohene Bwedi. I thank you so much, Superintendent, for your time. All right. So William Evans Inkumi. Go back to studios and join Martin Asiedu-Dartey for more on Midday Live. Over to you, Martin.
Thank you. Thank you so much, William Evans Inkum, TV3's Ashanti Regional Correspondent, on the beat, as always, on major developments in that part of the country. And away from that, though, inmates at the Dansoman police cells use urine and sachet water to flush toilets due to frequent water shortage. The toilet facility in the cell is also in a deplorable state, as water collects in the entire washroom area all year round. Meanwhile, the Divisional Police Commander, ACP Atimbila, and human rights lawyer have bemoaned the inhumane treatment meted out to suspects in the police cells.
There have been concerns about the deplorable nature of police cells across the country. Also of public concern is the conditions under which inmates are treated in these cells. A recent corporate support renovated the Dansoman Divisional Command, yet improper ventilation and other defects are still challenges in the cells. A number of holes created in the walls to allow ventilation have been blocked by inmates with plastic bottles for hanging their clothes. The concrete roof is also dirty and unattractive. But the biggest of the challenges is the perennial water shortage. Inmates have had to make use of water stored in a bucket. During the rush period, the bucket stays dry for days. This compels the inmates to rely on sachet water or urine to flush the toilet. The leader of the cell told TV3 they buy sachet water with money donated for their upkeep to flush the toilet whenever they are short of water. This they do only when a number of inmates have eased themselves and the toilet bowl is about full. The harsh reality, the cell leader said, has taught them a lesson. For now, this rubber bucket is placed here for every inmate to urinate into. The urine is then used to flush the toilet, not in time of need but as a routine. Human rights lawyer Francis Xavier Sosu is alarmed at the revelation.
It's a very, very, very bizarre treatment, to say the least. Now, when you go to the Constitution of Ghana, 15:1 says that the dignity of all persons shall be inviolable. Which kind of human being living in Ghana today will be living in such a condition where you have to use your urine to flush your toilet? Not to talk about the bacteria, the infections that can come your way, to talk about the health hazards that those things can bring you.
On top of this is the perceived inhumane treatment meted out to the inmates. This space in a poorly ventilated room takes up to 38 or more inmates at a time, and the welfare of inmates is no concern to anyone.
You see, we don't have the love of human being inside us. So once the person, it doesn't concern us, that is all. But everybody can be suspected at any point in time and thrown to that cells. And you get to cells, you don't have lavatory. Where there is a lavatory, you cannot flush. You must, your urine must be used to flush. I mean, it doesn't, honestly, it is degrading and dehumanizing treatment. And we must do something about it.
The Dansuman Divisional Commander ACP Moses Asabagna Timbila at the special Easter feast with inmates observed cells are only transit quarters in the criminal justice system capable of holding anyone and so must be kept safe.
They are human beings and they have human rights. You have a right to what? Very clean shelter. You have a right to clean environment. The fact that they have committed crimes and they are in your cells doesn't mean that you should not treat them as human beings.
The novelty was a way of showing love to the inmates and also seek God's favor. ACP Atimbila appealed to inmates to repent from their wrong ways. There were 22 inmates in the Dansuman cell at the time of filing this report. The longest serving inmate marked his 1 year, 7 days on Thursday, April 20, on remand for murder. Other inmates were being held for defilement, stealing and defrauding by false pretenses.
Well, from that inhuman treatment meted out to the inmates, let's turn our attention to something more relaxed and more beautiful. The picturesque beauty of the Amajofe Park from the peak of Mount Gemi and the foggy nature of the weather certainty makes it one of the tourism hubs in the Volta region. The people who trace their origin from the Guan community of Ahanta in the western region also have a unique style of showcasing their tradition and culture. Nana Kwekwedia has more.
From the top of Mountain Gemi lies the highest human settlement in the country, Amajope. With an altitude of about 750 meters above sea level, the foggy nature of the weather in the mornings encapsulates the tourism potential of the area.
It's even colder than this. As you can see now, this is just a small demonstration of the weather. If the weather is very cold, you can see that even there'll be an ice on your skin. So this gives a beauty of Amajope actually.
The people here also have a unique style of cultural and traditional presentation as various clans in the community showcase their cultural prowess at this Easter festive occasion. The climax of this uniqueness is the display of the Asafui, the warrior dance, which signifies the struggle of their forefathers to ensure they settle at their current location. So this is the Asafwe dance here for the people of Amajopa. It's very significant for the people. You can see all of them here dancing it. It shows the war prowess they have here in this part of the Volta region. It is so significant for the people because they said tradition never dies, and this is what they are practicing. We've joined them today to also look at exactly what the significance is.
When this drum is beating and you are praying and the trees burns down, they are doing those customs and the custom is going on. When they see cross in your forehead, you will not go to the war.
The people believe the practice is a heritage from the past, but treated not as a thing of the past, but as that which connects the past with the present. From Amajopa in the Volta region, Nana Kwekudia for TV3 News.
Tradition is always beautiful. All right, let's go to the seat of government now. And President Akufo-Addo has revealed the implementation of the One District, One Factory policy will commence in 51 districts this year. The president reiterated his commitment to fully implement the policy within 4 years.
President Akufo-Addo made this known during separate courtesy calls on the Omahini of Sunyani Nana Bosome Asor Nkrawuri II and the Omahini of the Doma traditional area, Asiedu-Dartey Ajiman Bedu, at their respective palaces on the final day of his 2-day visit to the Bono-Ahafo region. The president was there to thank the chiefs and people of the region, and in particular residents of Sunyani and Doma, for their support during the 2016 elections. Addressing the issue of Galamsey, the president said government has resolved to stopping this menace, which is destroying lands and water bodies.
Galamsey no there, Nana. I can't be as a be a organ a tiase. Se pass a pesia boy that's a
We have to collectively fight the menace of Galamsey if we want to protect the future of our lands and water bodies.
Anka see baby Jaya. Ebia. On
the recent happenings in Kumasi involving the issue of Delta Falls, President Akufo-Addo maintained the law of the country would be implemented to the letter. The president, at the debut of chiefs and people of Doma, again assured trainee nurses of the restoration of the allowances from September 2017. The president announced the implementation of the One District, One Factory would begin in 51 districts this year.
One district, one factory, no. Me say Nyankopon ahoden 4 years baby no. My year baby.
The One District, One Factory will be surely established before my 4-year term ends, and we're going to do same in all the 216 districts across the country.
This is still Midday Live on TV3. Thank you very much for staying with TV3. This is still Midday Live. Let's do business now. And the head of the finance department of the University of Ghana Business School has cautioned government against any huge cuts in capital expenditure following calls by the IMF. Professor Godfred Bokpin said government's flagship projects, including the One District, One Factory policy, need to be implemented to help stimulate growth.
The IMF says the expenditure cuts would help Ghana avoid shocks to the economy over the expected increase in the price of crude. The commodity is currently selling at $52 a barrel, but threats by the US government to hit North Korea over nuclear missile tests is sending some fears within the market. But Professor Bopin says government should focus on avoiding wasteful spending and not cut priority expenditure.
What we have been asking for is to prioritize our expenditure and make sure that we spend in the areas that would actually stimulate growth. But it's also worthy to note that government has taken significant steps in terms of deleting ghost names. We have been told about 26,000. That itself should make some cash flow available to government.
Ghana is a net importer of crude, despite expected increase in the country's 100,000 barrel crude exports by middle of next year. The financial analyst says Ghana can meet its growth target of 6.3% this year if government continues with efficient spending to stimulate growth.
Interest payment, we can't do anything about it. I mean, we have projected to spend close to 14 billion cedis just on servicing our debt this year. In terms of wages, salaries, gratuities and all of that, Ghana government is projecting to spend a little in excess of 16 billion cedis. There is nothing you can do about these things.
The IMF is, however, forecasting a 5.8% growth rate for Ghana in the latest World Economic Outlook.
Thank you very much for staying with us. Time now for sports.
Good afternoon. Time for the sports update here with me, Nana Kujua. For a newly appointed Black Stars manager Kwesi Appiah will arrive in Ghana later today. The ex-Ghana captain will fly into the country from the United Kingdom, where he went to visit his family to start his second stint as head coach of the Black Stars. Appiah, a former Al Khartoum SC coach, agreed a 2-year contract on his reappointment. He was selected last month after beating strong competition from Hugo Bruce and Willie Sagnon. Appiah's work officially starts on May 1 and has 5 games coming up in 3 months. His first assignment will be in June when he plays Ethiopia in the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. The two international friendlies against Mexico, USA on June 28 and July 1st respectively. Appiah will also assemble a home-based side to face Burkina Faso in a 2018 CHAN final round qualifier over 2 legs.
And love it or hate it, technology is changing even in the way photographs are preserved. In times past, photographs were arranged in albums documenting milestones chalked in one's life. In the following report, Portia Gabo examines whether viewing digital images comes anywhere close to the experience of holding and viewing pictures in an album.
This is my success. My backbone.
Be it photographs from a naming ceremony, wedding or birthdays, photo albums in times past were the best choice of preserving memories, but photography has evolved over the years. Inventions and technology have become a game changer, and today people are taking pictures more than ever before. The idea of a hard copy family photo album may not resonate well with the youth who are eager to take selfies on their phones, waiting for the next opportunity to share it on social media platforms. So, when was the last time you viewed pictures or purchased a photo album?
I can't remember the last time I opened my photo album. In fact, you have even reminded me of my photo album.
The digital ones are the best. These days, you hardly keep a hard copy.
Despite the waning interest in photo albums, it is still the best means of preserving memories to some. However, it comes with its attendant problems.
The album is 10 years and over, and as time goes on, it keeps tearing apart. The pictures as well, like the color of the pictures do fade. For instance, I have a picture here. It has changed its color, like it's not looking nice again as it was. But then with the picture on the phone, anytime, any day, you get a quality of the picture.
Kelly Rain is a photographer who has practiced for the past 8 years in Ghana.
Things have evolved. Now we are not doing the albums anymore. Albums are in the past. We are doing photo books, which is coming to replace our albums now. It's like our old storybooks that we used to read. We want to tell a story. Now with the photo books, we can keep them for so many years.
CDs and USB drives may become obsolete in the near future, putting tons of photography at risk.
Look at it this way. I keep my stuff on an iCloud. I can come 50 years and it will still be there. I can go in for it.
So don't write off the photo album yet, because someday it may come in handy in the not too distant future.
Flipping through an album, and of course with wonderful music in the background and a chilled drink to enjoy. It's one of the most joyous feelings in the world. However, we're asking, will albums stand the test of time with the emergence of technology? Hoshagabo, TV3 News.
All right, so let's do some more entertainment stories now. And former First Lady Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings is taking a swipe at self-acclaimed GH King of Comedy, DKB. And that has taken a whole new twist on social media. Watch the story.
Undoubtedly, former First Lady Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings is a lover of musical concerts and entertainment shows. Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings was a patron at the DKB headlined Easter comedy show but left bored. While King of GH Comedy, DKB's jokes weren't exciting and rib-cracking enough to make her laugh. A graphic online report quoted the former First Lady as saying DKB was being boring. Now, how did DKB react to the news? Speaking on Peace FM's entertainment review show, DKB said the news really hit him hard, depressing him in the process. DKB, however, considered that his performance was unimpressive, attributing the flop to the use of wrong jokes for the wrong target audience.